Welcome to a special edition of RCE. We've moved back our regular interviews due to the situation in Japan and the situation with the Fukushima power plant. We have taken the opportunity to get a hold of some of my old faculty. I have a degree in nuclear engineering, and we are going to talk about what happened at the plant and just to better inform people that what kind of worries there are for the people in Japan, the people working on the plant, and those of us around the world who are going to be affected by this.
Yeah, thanks, Brock. This is, as we said, a special edition, but, we do have that E in our name, Research, Computing, and Engineering. And so we're talking to some nuclear engineers today. And really, there's a lot of information out there in the news media and whatnot, and I'm not sure that all of it is accurate. So I figured it would probably be good to talk to some people that, from a well-established higher institution and with good educational pedigrees and actually are bona fide experts in this area to find out, what's the real scoop. So let's talk some technical details here.
Yes, and also as a little side note, this is the first time I've had somebody that I've taken a class from on the show. So our two guests today are Dr. Mike Hartman and Dr. Kim Kearfott, both from the Department of Nuclear Engineering and Radiological Sciences at the University of Michigan. So, doctors, thank you very much for your time, and take a moment to introduce yourselves.
Mike?
I was trying to be kind. Well, thank you for having me. My name is Professor Mike Hartman, and I'm an assistant professor in the Nuclear Engineering and Radiological Sciences Department at the University of Michigan. My work focuses on the use of neutrons as a probe of atomistic processes, but I do have some past both operational and theoretical experience in nuclear reactor design. And I'll be glad to answer your questions today and see if we can't clarify some issues with the current media reports that are out there.
Hi, I'm Kim Kearfott. I'm a professor of nuclear engineering and radiological sciences. My areas of specialty are radiation safety as well as nuclear instrumentation. My research is focused on the development of passive dosimeters for monitoring networks.
I should also note, because the situation is changing rapidly, we are recording this on Friday, March 25th. So if anything occurs afterwards, it would not be reflected in this. So before we get into this, can you get a little bit of a timeline of the events that happened that caused the Fukushima plant to be in the situation it is currently?
Sure. So I'll address this first. The magnitude 9 earthquake happened, and when that happened, seismic sensors at the various nuclear plants on the coast of Japan picked that up. It was sensed, and those reactors were scrammed. And when I say scram, the automatic control system, which shuts down the nuclear process, occurred. And so within seconds of the earthquake, the nuclear process within the reactor was stopped. And then subsequent to that, the tsunami came onshore, and the wave that was onshore was beyond the design wave that the plants were built to. And apparently as a result of that, the diesel generators at the Fukushima 1 site were overwhelmed by that. And it's not clear whether that means that the diesels themselves were taken out, whether part of the switchgear that connects them, or whether it was some ancillary system like the fuel oil system. But at any rate, the diesel generator capacity was rendered inoperable. And then subsequent to that, we've seen issues with cooling the core as well as the spent fuel pools. And that really has nothing to do with the nuclear process. Again, that was terminated and shut down, but we're looking at the removal of decay heat that exists within both the fuel in the reactor pressure vessel as well as in the spent fuel pools.
From the viewpoint of radiation safety, the radiation levels on the plant site have been jumping up and down. They have gone from very small levels to levels that would cause radiation sickness in time periods of about 5 hours. However, the levels don't stay high very long. The recorded levels seem to be correlating with different transients and different changes that are going on both within the reactors as well as in the spent fuel pools. In terms of public dose management, the initial exclusion zone was about 20 kilometers. The United States then put in an exclusion zone of 50 miles for U.S. citizens. As of this morning, the Japanese increased their exclusion zone to 30 kilometers. The evacuation of the public was quite rapid, which was really good news from the viewpoint of monitoring the public dose, minimizing the public dose. The evacuations were very timely in terms of minimizing public dose. There were 11 workers injured by some of the hydrogen blasts. Of these, there was one death. For the first week, the workers were able to operate under regular, normal operational limits for occupational exposure. As the situation became less certain, permission was given to Tokyo Electric Power Company to operate under regularly accepted emergency limits for worker exposures. Recently, releases were noted as far away as Tokyo. In addition, this morning and last night, iodine-131 was detected here in Michigan.
So what is iodine-131, and what does that mean that it was detected in Michigan?
Iodine-131 is one of the fission products that would be released in incidents such as this. It happens to be one of the two fission products that we worry about for health and human safety. The other one is cesium-137. Iodine has a very short half-life of about 8 days, and the main effect that we worry about is thyroid cancer.
So one of the nice things about this is that compared to dumping a hazardous chemical into the atmosphere that stays there, the radiation will die away. So a half-life of 7 days means that half of the iodine is gone and is not coming back in 7 days. Is that right?
That's exactly correct. And since the reactors have been shut down, the total amount of iodine that could be released is decreasing in that same way. There's no further production of iodine going on in the plants without criticality.
Now, how much was actually detected in Michigan and in elsewhere? I mean, are these amounts to be concerned about, even with a short half-life? What is the exposure risk?
These are absolutely not amounts to be concerned about in the slightest. The issue is that we are able to detect such tiny amounts of radiation that the releases would be detectable across the globe at levels that are far below those where there would be even the slightest measurable increase in cancer risk.
So when we hear reports that the level of activity in Tokyo is some multiple, sounds like a massive amount of increase over the background level of radiation, because radiation is around us all the time. Are they at levels anywhere in Japan close to the plant that is of worry to the public?
The amount of radioactivity detected in water in Tokyo was such that if you consumed that water for a very extended time period, that the increase in dose would be equivalent to the difference in cosmic radiation between living in Los Angeles and living in Denver.